What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P, back here once again, and you already know what it is. It's Monday, baby. Monday, and we are here on LNU. Shout out to everybody involved with LNU. Shout out Herman. Shout out Chrissy. Shout out the Heavies, man. You already know what it is. We got some things that we're going to have to get into today, but before we get into that, I just want to let you know that what you've come to expect when you see me in front of your TV, on your mobile phones, on your laptops, your computers, wherever you watch me from, I appreciate you. But number one is that the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two is that we came to give you stats and none of that static. And number three, and perhaps the most important of them all, we want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And how do you keep your Lions news pragmatic? You're asking yourself, how? How, Don, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? How, Motor City Don P? Well, it's very simple. I'm glad you asked. It's a three-step process. 1, like. 2, subscribe. 3, share. And that is how you keep your Lions news pragmatic, because sharing is caring, and you've cared about everyone that you've shared this with. Okay. Let's get into it. What up, though, Hassanin Mahdi? He is here. Everyone knows that this is Ahmed Hassanin's father. He has graced our presence once again. He's in the chat. So what up, though, to you, sir, and shout out to you. All right. So what we got to talk about today. I know y'all saw the thumbnail. The thumbnail says, Hooker's lines a sinker. I know y'all saw the topic of today's show is that Dan Campbell speaks on the Detroit Lions backup quarterback situation. Y'all remember Vince Carter? Y'all remember Vince Carter in the slam dunk contest? Remember what he did? Remember what he said? He said, "It's over. It's over." Remember when he did the dunk, when he put his elbow in the he hung on the rim with his elbow. He dunked through the basket. It's over. Okay? That indeed is what has happened right now. The backup quarterback situation, the backup quarterback battle is over. Now, I'm going to do some things here today that I thought I would never do. But I'm objective, okay? Yes, I'm a fan first, but at the same time, I'm not the type of fan that's just going to sit up there and tell you delusional things about your favorite player's favorite player. I'm not going to sit up there and tell you delusional things about the things that I see talking about the Detroit Lions, because if I were to do that, then I wouldn't be keeping your Lions news pragmatic. I would, in fact, be disingenuous. So I'm not going to be disingenuous. You'll know it when you see it. I'm not just going to start off with it, but you know it when you see it. We're going to start off with one Hendon Hooker. All offseason, all preseason, all training camp, when we talked about Hendon Hooker, I've been saying, all I want to see that man do is go through his reads, go through his progressions. Don't just tuck it and run. I don't tuck it and run. I don't want you looking at one read and then tucking and running. To his credit, against the Atlanta Falcons, I don't believe that he was looking at one read, tucking and running. Not to his credit, though, was the fact that one Mr. Hendon Hooker forgot that the most important security is ball security. Hendon Hooker forgot that he had to protect the football. Hendon Hooker forgot that he was not Matthew Stafford. He was having a Matthew Stafford moment. You know Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford would throw a pick six at the most inopportune times, or Matthew Stafford would get strip sacked and he would fumble and give up the ball at the most inopportune times. Sometimes he would throw an interception and fumble on the same possession. It's happened. Think back to Dallas in 2015 playoffs. He both threw an interception and fumbled on the same possession, on our final possession. So he kind of tapped into that realm where it was just, oh no, there goes the ball again to the other team. And I try to understand how that happens. And I can't come to any other understanding than you forgot to take care of the football. You forgot. Y'all must have forgot, right? Nobody was protecting it. No one was holding on to it. None of that was happening. Hendon Hooker, on his first turnover, now that he had 2 fumbles, when you become a runner, your most important thing to take care of is the football. You are going to have people, especially when you're running out of the pocket, right? Because when you run out of the pocket, you've already got some people around you. You're trying to get to daylight. There are people swiping at your hands and arms, punching at the ball. They're already around you. Very similar to where a running back runs up in the middle, runs through the line of scrimmage, right? With defensive tackles ripping at, swiping at the ball. Then you come from beyond the defensive tackles, and then you've got the linebackers doing the same thing, and then you got the safeties doing the same thing, all while trying to tackle you. So you got to have good ball security when you run through a hole. When you're a quarterback and you scramble out of the pocket and you've got people, and the reason that you ran is because it wasn't designed, the pressure was coming. When the pressure's coming and there are people around you, you have to take care of the football. Hendon Hooker, for whatever reason, and I don't know the reason, Hendon Hooker forgot that. Okay? Hendon Hooker forgot that his main objective was to take care of the football. Protect it, even. So then what happened is a very routine scramble out of the pocket turned into a fumble, which the Falcons got on top of, so that turns into a turnover. All right, cool. No problem. Shake it off. What up, though? So the chat just populated. I don't know what was happening. So I'm going to say what up, though, to y'all in a minute. What up, though? Here's Johnny. What up, though, Flying Hawaiian? What up, though, Britt DeWitt? I promise you I wasn't ignoring you. Everything just populated. I had, like, the viewer numbers, everything. None of that stuff was there. I was like, yo, I'm in here by myself. And then everything just popped up on the screen. You have 40 people viewing. You got that, right? So that was an equipment malfunction. That had nothing to do with me. That was StreamYard. So I'm going to get to you guys in the chat in a second. All right. So then Hendon Hooker does what he does. Then he gets another opportunity. He makes decent throws. He makes some runs. The thing with Hendon Hooker, to me, he doesn't look comfortable in the NFL. I didn't watch him in college, obviously, because he was at Tennessee and, whatever. Once we drafted him, I watched some highlights to see what he was about and all these other things. He looked much more comfortable in college. Something about the NFL has him uncomfortable. Something about the NFL has him uncoordinated and discombobulated. Something about the NFL has gotten into his head, and it doesn't allow him to perform up to his ability. And I say perform up to his ability because if Brad Holmes drafts you, you have ability. Okay? Now, I know I'm big on I'm not going to hype up the 6th rounders or the 7th rounders or whatever the case may be. But if Brad Holmes drafts you, you have ability to play in the NFL. Okay, it's like what every Brad Holmes draft pick to this point, to this part, has made the roster, right? So if Brad Holmes drafts you, you have the ability to play in the NFL. Something about the NFL has Hendon Hooker shook once, okay? Because he just looks discombobulated, uncoordinated. He looks like he's stumbling and bumbling out there. So then Hendon Hooker gets in for his final drive. Now, there were varying opinions about this. I watched a couple of post-game shows after I got off and I was, out working or the next day or things like this. And there were different opinions about Hendon Hooker's culpability in that moment. And there were people that were trying to defend Hendon Hooker. Here's what I'll say. I saw Hendon Hooker inside of his mind in real time, except that he was going to take that sack. I saw Hendon Hooker take a step up in the pocket and settle like I am going to get sacked. He did not try to move anywhere. He did not try to break out. He, in his mind, was comfortable with taking the sack. Cool. I don't have a problem with a quarterback being comfortable taking a sack because sometimes you got to know when it's over. Sometimes when you try to do too much, you make bigger problems and it results in turnovers, right? Case in point, Washington Commanders game, about to go up 14-3. Jared Goff, if he would have just accepted that he was about to get sacked and got prepared to take the sack, there wouldn't have been a fumble. But Jared Goff didn't see the guy coming because Graham Glasgow just let him come screaming off the edge, right? But had Jared Goff prepared to take the sack, he would have done something that Hendon Hooker didn't do. So what Hendon Hooker did was he prepared to take the sack. He accepted it in his mind. He was like, I'm about to get sacked here. And that's all he did. He didn't do the other part, which was tuck the damn football. If you are accepting that you are going to take a sack and you take a step up in the pocket, prepare yourself by taking the ball from here to here. Protect it. Right? Protect it. Because then what happens when you protect it? You live, son. You live, son. You live to fight another day. Right? Shout out John Witherspoon, Detroit legend. He didn't do that other part. Now, for those of you that wanted to defend him and say, oh, the line should have done this and they should have protected him better, that's fine. I'm trying to tell you, Hendon Hooker, in the moment, accepted he was going to be sacked, but did not immediately protect the football, which is why it was a strip sack. He saw the pocket closing around him. He saw the edge coming off the edge. He did not protect the football. He made no attempts to switch the ball into a position of protection. Don't believe me? Listen to what Dan Campbell had to say. When they asked him about why he had pulled Hendon Hooker 5 minutes left to go, and they didn't do that earlier or before last week in the whatchamacallit game, he said turning the football over. Now, Kyle Allen had 2 interceptions and they didn't pull him. Why did they pull Hendon Hooker? Turning the football over, both of them did. Well, here's the reason. Because it was so egregious. His turning the football over was being loose and sloppy with the football and not understanding the assignment. Kyle Allen threw interceptions. He made an awful read, which he didn't even read on his first interception, and he threw that thing right where the cornerback could jump it. And then, okay, maybe Isaac Tesla got bumped off of his route or whatever the case may be, but you don't throw that ball into double coverage. But those turnovers came in the flow of the game, right? They came with him trying to execute the offense. They did not come from mental errors and mental mistakes where I forgot to protect the football. I forgot that it was my job to do so. That's not where Kyle Allen's interceptions came from. Hendon Hooker had 2 fumbles, strip sacks, 2 of them. So you didn't learn your lesson. And that's why he was removed. Okay? I'm going to get to the chat before I get to the second part of this. But Hooker's line's a sinker. He's sinking. He's not going to be your backup quarterback. If they roster 3, which is what we think that they'll do because they're the ones that tried to get or got the emergency quarterback law passed or bill or bill law rule, right? So he'll probably be your number 3. Break glass in case of emergency. And the way that we've seen Hendon Hooker carry himself this preseason, it's definitely going to be an emergency. Now he's got 2 more games. He can bounce back, but he's got to play stellar. He's got to play stellar games. He's got to be phenomenal. As Kobe Bryant said, you've got to be undeniable. That is the situation that Hendon Hooker finds himself in right now. He has placed himself firmly behind the 8 ball. And he's got to be undeniable. He's got to be undeniable. He cannot be anything else. He cannot make any more mistakes. He cannot turn the football over. He can barely afford to throw an incomplete pass. Do you understand what I'm saying? If Hendon Hooker wants any chance of getting back into this backup quarterback race for number 2, he's got to play flawlessly. And from what I've seen these last 2 games, don't think he has that ability. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. What up, though, TaylorMade Media? What up, though, Independent Water Aquaman? What up, though, Salty Pork Chops? What up, though, Mr. Detroit City? What up, though, Share Bear 79? What happened here? You wanted the incidentals to happen, everyone involved? Not sure. What up, though, Lisa? What up, though, Lisa DiLorenzo? Yeah, so Ahmed Hassanin did get banged up, but he's fine. I think he just kind of rolled his ankle a little bit. He is fine. All right, let's see what we got here. Fine White says, not sure it's the NFL more than this offense since it was created with a pocket passer in mind. Hooker looks like Chappelle's Tyrone Bigham's out there. Facts. Facts. I insisted right before, during, and immediately after Holmes drafted a QB that it was only to temporarily shut up the golf phobics equals mission accomplished. I don't think that was correct. Independent Aquaman, you don't waste a 3rd round pick just to shut someone up. We need a backup quarterback. That's what this is. We need a backup quarterback, and my guy is not up to snuff right now. He might look completely different on the Ravens, for example. It's possible, But will a different system, here's the thing, would a different system make him look differently as far as I don't know how to protect the football when I'm in the pocket or when I'm escaping the pocket? That's a fundamental issue. It has nothing to do with the system. You could be in the wing tee, you could be in the wildcat, you could be in the shotgun, you could be in the pistol, you could be in the West Coast offense, you could be in the run and shoot, right? You could be in the air raid offense, right? You could be in the K gun. It doesn't matter what offense you are in. If you don't know that I need to protect this football when I become a runner, that's a fundamental problem. That is not a system problem. It's okay. JMO is so good. It doesn't matter who plays QB. Guys, let's keep it 100. If you can't get the ball to JMO because you can't protect it, then yes, it matters. It matters. Lisa says Hendon Hooker was drafted to be a backup and has not even become a backup. No progression in his game. He has not improved. He has regressed. Big facts right there, Lisa. Not a ton of QBs think of protecting the ball. How many times have you seen QBs running while holding the ball with one hand? The problem is this. It becomes a problem when you have a turnover problem, right? Look at Lamar Jackson. How often does Lamar Jackson fumble? With as much as he runs, how often does he fumble? Look at Mike Vick. Mike Vick used to hold it out with one hand. You know what they were? Comfortable and aware of their surroundings. You know, once they turned up field and became runners, they took the football. Moving around in the pocket and being able to escape the pocket when the rush is coming at you means you have pocket presence and pocket awareness. Hendon Hooker showed no pocket awareness or pocket presence by stepping up, accepting that he's taking a sack, and then just, I don't know what he was doing. He was like, here's the ball, guys. You guys want this? I don't. It's for you, Atlanta. It's not for Detroit. No. Anybody defending Hooker needs a Lions Club white cane for the blind more than Stevie Wonder did. All right, what we got? Independent says, due to Hooker's lack of progression, maybe he should switch to being a running back, but he still needs to learn to not lose the football. I'm not going to get into the he needs to be a running back situation, also because he doesn't look good as a runner. I've said this before. Like, I said this before and someone said this. I don't remember who said it, but you don't look like good as a runner, so why would you be a running back? You don't look good as a runner. Hendon Hooker has not looked good as a runner this preseason at all. He's looked good one time, and that was during this game where he broke off the 10, 12 yards for a first down off the right side. That's the only time he's looked good as a runner this preseason. He's looked bad. He hasn't looked good as a runner. He hasn't looked good as a thrower. He hasn't looked good as a quarterback. He hasn't looked good as a football player. All right. Now, at least Lamar Jackson improved how he plays. Exactly. Lamar has improved year over year. And he should have had 3 straight MVPs. Said, I'm not disagreeing with you. I watched the same game you did, but this is his second camp and hasn't really played since last year's camp. He needs way more reps. I think he's overwhelmed by the playbook. I hear you. But what's unacceptable is the lack of protection of the football. It's just that you can't be a quarterback. Now, this was my problem with Kyle Allen throwing interceptions. I have a problem with quarterbacks who don't protect the football. You know that about me. If you don't protect the football, I'm sorry. I don't appreciate you. I can't appreciate you because whatever good that you are able to do, turnovers will bite you in the ass more likely than they won't. Right? People, there's mixed feelings about Jim Caldwell now that we've seen Dan Campbell. Right? But Jim Caldwell was like the best coach that we had since Wayne Fontes. And that's not saying a whole lot. Right? In Lions lore, Jim Caldwell is, depending, he may be over Wayne Fontes or he may be behind Wayne Fontes to you. Probably over Wayne Fontes. The only saving grace for Wayne Fontes is that he had Barry Sanders. Right? That's why I think people look fondly on Wayne Fontes because of the era. That was the era of Barry Sanders. Jim Caldwell. I mean, people say he couldn't tell time. He had bad time management and all these other things. Jim Caldwell's idea about how to make the Lions progress was to mitigate the amount of opportunities that Matthew Stafford had to gunsling. Because while a gunslinger may throw the ball all over the yard and he may get all the stats, that's why they call him Stat Padford, he's going to put the ball in harm's way. And because he has no filter, he's going to put the ball in harm's way in inopportune situations. Can everyone say that about Matthew Stafford in Detroit? Can you say that? Can we all kumbaya and admit that Matthew Stafford in inopportune times put the ball in harm's way far too often? Yes, he went to LA and won a Super Bowl, yada, yada, yada. In Detroit, did this happen? Okay? And this is my point. So Matthew Stafford did a lot of good things in Detroit. He threw a lot of touchdown passes, right? Oh, he gave Megatron a whole bunch of highlights. Did he put the ball in harm's way far too often? Yes. Okay. So Hendon Hooker, for whatever reason, maybe you're overwhelmed by the playbook, maybe this, that, and third thing, that's fine. Protect the football. Protect it. That's the name of the game. Protect the football. Whatever else you got going on, whatever struggles you got on the field, off the field, in the playbook, in the locker room, at the training facility, during training camp, whatever situation, whatever's going on, you got to protect the football. That's my main concern. You may not play that great, but you protected the football, and I can't go on these rants and these soliloquies about how you need to protect it. I can't, because you've protected it. You've done what you're supposed to do. All right. Hooker is not built for the NFL. What up, though, just a fan? Whether or not we keep him until ready is another question, but fans jump all over players much too readily. I think we do keep him. I think he's the third, he's your emergency quarterback. Okay? I am all for giving rookies chances. But here's the thing. When you've been in the league a couple of years or 3 years or whatever, just like Ennis Rakestraw. Ennis Rakestraw came in here with an injury-prone designation. Ennis Rakestraw hasn't proven that he's not injury-prone. He hasn't beaten the allegations. As a player, does that mean he's trash? Does that mean he's garbage? No, he's just injury-prone. Right? I don't know what Ennis Rakestraw is in the NFL, honestly, because he can't stay on the field. Marcus Davenport is another player. He's injury prone. He's a beast when healthy. Why do we know that? Because he's managed to get on the field enough for us to see his talent. Ennis Rakestraw has not. Emmanuel Mosley, a beast, one of the better cornerbacks in the league, right? But the last 2-3 years, he hasn't been able to get on the field. Right? So my issue with Hendon Hooker is, I've said, he needs more reps. He needs more playing time as far as the progressions thing and reading, getting more comfortable in the pocket, reading and reacting, understanding what the defense is throwing at him, things of that nature. I get all that 100% because I've said that countless times. I've said that the UFL, shout out to Detroit Syndicate, Lions Syndicate, I'm going to start putting some videos. I was going to put one on there last night, but, too many people making noise in the house, so I didn't. But I'm going to start doing some videos over there. Remember, I will be over there every Friday live on the Detroit Syndicate Sports channel. So if you have not subscribed to Detroit Syndicate Sports, please do that. Also, if you have not subscribed to Motor City Cats, please do the same. Because I need y'all. Anyway, I've said all of that about Hendon Hooker. He needs more. And I've said, and that's why I said shout out to Lions Syndicate because, he's been on this UFL thing. Like the NFL needs to make the UFL their developmental league. And I concur. I agree 100%. And Hendon Hooker needs to be there, somebody's quarterback, playing, getting reps, playing against other quote unquote NFL players or somewhat NFL caliber players, right? There's a lot of UFL players on rosters right now, and some of them are going to make the initial 53, and some of them are going to play, and some of them are going to make impacts like Jake Bates did for us all season. So to be able to actually play a full season and get all of that, get all the cobwebs out and everything and be able to process and understand what the defense is doing and being able to make more than one read and go through your progressions. All of that will help Hendon Hooker. But if you don't protect the football, nothing can help you. Because if you don't protect the football, no one will think about, how you've gotten better with this and how you've gotten better with that and how you've made improvements. What people are going to go to is you can't protect the football. And because you can't protect the football, you become a what? Liability. Because we can't trust you. Which brings me to Kyle Allen. What up, though, Zach J? See, you won't see a flying wire. You won't. We can't kumbaya on this. Did Stafford have an issue protecting the football? Yes or no? That's all. I don't want to know about. Was he throwing to Golden Tate? Was he throwing to Calvin Johnson? Was he throwing to Nate Burleson? Right? Was he throwing to Titus Young before he got off his meds? He had people. Right? Did he not have Reggie Bush in the backfield and Drake Bell? Did he not have somebody? Like his offense wasn't just cheeks upon cheeks all the time. I'm trying to say, Matthew Stafford, tremendous ability, great arm talent, make all the throws. Problem putting the football in harm's way. Both of these things can be true. Matthew Stafford is a phenomenal talent at quarterback. You know what would make him a surefire, like, I love Matthew Stafford. I never had a problem with Matthew Stafford at all. His propensity to turn over the football would have to go away. If he didn't have problems in Detroit throwing pick sixes and getting strip sacked at the most inopportune times, I would have loved Matthew Stafford. I didn't say he's a bad player. I never said he's a bad player. I never said he's a bad quarterback. You have to protect the football. This is my argument. This is what I'm saying. Right? When Goff throws 5 interceptions in a game, I'll get on here and tell you, you have to protect the football. You can't do that. You can't win like that. We just so happen to do that against the Texans. When Goff gets on and gets into the Washington Commanders game and throws 3 picks and has a fumble, I'm going to tell you, you can't win a playoff game that way because you can't. We didn't. Right? Now, if everyone wants to say, oh, he was concussed, he this, that, and the third thing, he got concussed while throwing a pick 6. Listen, people can be multiple things at once. Okay? People can be multiple things at once. You can be a phenomenal football player, but if you have an issue with protecting the football, we can't trust you. If you've shown that issue in big spots, in situations, we can't trust you because you've shown us this in those spots and situations. Am I making sense? Right? Am I making sense? That's all I want to know. Let's come together. Let's kumbaya on that. If we can't trust you in big spots because you turn the football over, if we can't trust you to put you in the game at all because as soon as you get in, Hendon Hooker, you turn the football over, then that means that we can't trust you because you have a turnover problem. Not because you turn the ball over once or twice every blue moon. No, it's because you consistently do it. Hendon Hooker consistently did it. Hendon Hooker had 2 outings. Sorry, 2. He had 2 outings, 3 turnovers. Right? Outing number 1 looked better than outing number 2. He got worse at turning the football over in outing number 2. It's supposed to go the other way around, like with Kyle Allen. And here it is. I don't want staff to ever be, I don't want him to ever beat us either. Ever. The UFL as a development loop, I think they play their games on Fox, so that's out. Why? They have their games on. They got the Fox deal off strength of the NFL, right? The NFL is, in somewhat in conjunction with the UFL. They just don't have. It's not official. Independent Aquaman says, yes, you're making sense. It's like a worker not showing up at least 20% of their scheduled time and or being at least 5 minutes late on a constant basis. Doesn't matter how great you produce working. Thank you. That's all I'm saying. Someone has to argue with you to get the chat going and extend the video. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, Fly Hawaii. All right. So I said I was going to do this at the beginning, and I told you that you would see it, you'd know it when you saw it. I am going to begrudgingly give Kyle Allen props. Kyle Allen looked nothing like Kyle Allen of preseason week 1. Here's the thing. As a fan of the team, we want this stuff solved. We want these issues solved. We don't want to have to continue to deal with them. We've been dealing with a revolving door at backup quarterback. The only thing that's been fortunate for us is that Jared Goff has not gotten hurt. But in the NFL, you cannot bank on health. You can't bank on it. You can't count on it. You can't even begin to use it. You have to couch it with the word if. If everyone stays healthy, if we don't have that many injuries this year, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. So Kyle Allen came in, understood the assignment, did much better than what he did last week. If you're going to redeem yourself, redeem yourself. Now, what I will tell you is this. Am I comfortable with Kyle Allen being the backup quarterback going into the NFL regular season? No. Okay, we've got a split sample size. We've got the sample size where he played really poorly and a sample size where he played really well. We've got 2 more preseason games left. You play really well in preseason game 2, 3, and 4, then I can say number 1 was just an outlier. That's not who you are. I'm going to tell you what did it for me. Game number 1 was that first interception. It was so bad. I had to question whether Kyle Allen had real quarterback vision, like real NFL quarterback vision. If you don't have real NFL quarterback vision, then it's going to be really tough. Kyle Allen came in relief of Hendon Hooker and drove us straight down the field for our first touchdown drive. 5 plays, 80 yards. Threw a dot to, who was that? Jackson Meeks? Deep ball. Throws a jump ball in the corner to Isaac Tesla. Great ball placement. Put it in a place where Tesla could go get it and the defender couldn't. Was decisive. Didn't put the ball in harm's way. Didn't turn the ball over. Scrambled a little bit. Came in with a worse offensive line and worse weapons and looked so much better than Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker looked like he was under siege at all times. Tate Ratledge was in there. I think Mahogany was in there, right? So why did it look like Kyle Allen had more time? I don't know. But what I will say again, Kyle Allen looked so much better than Hendon Hooker. And Dan Campbell said the same thing. Dan Campbell talked about how he was decisive and how he got to his spots and how he didn't. He moved the offense and, put us in scoring position. He talked about all that. As of right now, today, what is it? Today is Tuesday, from Monday for y'all. As of Monday at 8 p.m., 8:03 p.m., the backup quarterback competition is over. Now, here's the way that it can be restarted. Hendon Hooker, as I said, has to play phenomenally. Kyle Allen has to fall apart at the seams. I'm going to tell you what happens. If that happens, if it's this kind of roller coaster, right? If Kyle Allen plays great this week and then next week he plays like trash and then he plays great in week 4, call Carson Wentz. Call Ryan Tannehill. Call somebody. Because my biggest issue with Kyle Allen has been, if you have a propensity to turn over the football, just like I've been saying, where he did in week 1, when does that rear its ugly head if he has to go in relief of Jared Goff? When does he decide, I'm going to try to fit a ball in a double coverage? When does he decide, I'm going to throw an out route with a corner sitting on it? When does he make that decision? Now, but there was a situation where he, I think he just dropped the ball in the pocket. Y'all remember what I'm talking about? But it came right back to him. He was able to jump right on top of it. That was kind of a microcosm of what I'm saying. He came out there and he was doing quite well, and then he just had a brain fart, or I don't know what it was. Just dropped the football. Somebody kissed him on the elbow, and he dropped the football. This is like, so while he did play an overall great game, it's stuff like that that I'm not comfortable with. Like I'm just, the things that I'm seeing, I'm not comfortable with these things, because while they may be innocuous to you guys and you may think they're outliers or whatever, I'm like, what happens if Kyle Allen is in a game and it's a high pressure situation because it's an NFL game? Now I know he's started 19 NFL games. Fantastic. Awesome. But he's available for a reason. Right? He was available for a reason. So now that he started 19 NFL games and now he's available for a reason, maybe that reason is you can't trust him. And at some point in a game, somebody's going to kiss him on his elbow and he's going to drop the football and he's not going to be able to fall on it. The other team will. Right? Generally, when you fumble the ball and it bounces right back up to you, they call that a lucky bounce. Generally, when you drop the football on the ground and it doesn't move anywhere and you're able to just jump right back on top of it, they call it a lucky bounce. I'm not the type of person that likes to rely on luck. Okay? I like to rely on skill. And one of the skills is protecting the football. All right. We got a little bit more quarterback stuff to get into. I will get into the chat. What up, though? Tactical Sport. Christopher Cruson said he had to knock off the rust. Meteorite says, all right. Did Teddy sign with the Bucks to stay close to Tampa for his high school team? It's possible. I don't know what's going on with that. Agreed, but will Kyle Allen repeatedly revert back to being unreliable if he doesn't keep off and on screwing up? Then he's learned it instead of Brad signing a free agent to replace him. Yeah, this is the gamble. That's why we got to watch this situation pretty closely for the next 2 weeks to see if we have anything or if we need to go sign someone. But we've seen backup QBs look good in preseason before, only to look horrible in season. Right. And I to keep it 100 with you, that's why I don't really want Kyle Allen, because we're talking about up and down in the preseason. So I'm not comfortable with that. Meeks was making the most of his opportunities. Facts. Why Lions don't have dress last preseason anymore? Because there's only 3 games now. So there used to be 4. Meeks was phenomenal. I heard by another that Meeks personally knows. He's his nephew. So, yeah, they're family members. It looked like Kyle Allen had more time because Hooker just makes one read and then wants to run. I don't think he was doing that so often this game. I think he did kind of stand in there a little bit more. But it was just that when he did decide to run, his first instinct wasn't to protect the football. I'm not going to read that one. Here's Johnny. Come on now. See, now that comes into personal attacks. Says call the Ghostbusters if they have to. Facts. They got to call somebody. Stan Vision says, damn, I thought everyone wanted Hooker as the starting QB. Well, I guess he's not improving as he's supposed to. Facts. Dan Spano says Zaderos is Meek's uncle. That is correct. What does it say about Hooker that Allen could pick up the Lions offense after a few months and Hooker still doesn't know offense in his third year? It just, I don't think it's the offense that he doesn't know. It's just, he's not comfortable playing in the NFL. He doesn't look good. That fumble was Kyle Allen doing Kyle Allen things. Facts. Yeah, seriously. Cedric Sweeney, Allen has played on 6 different teams. He must be our guy because he has experience. Cedric, I'm not telling you he's the guy. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm telling you, that's why I said he's available for a reason. And what's the reason? Hooker didn't really have that read and run problem this past game compared to his past. Right. He had a fumbling problem this time. To be a little fair to Hooker, Allen has more NFL experience. Nonetheless, Hooker is taking far too long to be acclimatized. He's not comfortable playing in this offense, completely different from what he did in college. That's true, but you must protect the football. I just need you to trust me. That's all. I just need you to protect the football. That's all. It's the speed he can't adjust to. He panics quickly. He does seem to panic. Exactly, you're a smart man. I appreciate you. I thank you. All right. Kyle Allen was available because he belongs in the UFL. Hooker belongs at Alberts. Acclimatized, yes. It's like acclimated. Just saying it's not the NFL per se. It's something. He better figure it out. That's all I know. All right. Now, talking more about quarterbacks. This is a hot button topic. Last year, when people like Mina Kimes and so on and so forth were trying to put Jordan Love over Jared Goff, we sat here, and unfortunately, I had a stain on my name, and I was connected to some bullish. But I no longer have that stain. I'm free. Okay, I'm free to be me, Motor City Don P. You feel me? I went over this exercise with the people, and this exercise was about Jared Goff, where he stood, and I simplified it for everyone. Because this was during the time when PFF was talking about, big time throws, and they were making up stats and all these other things. My thing was this. If you want to rate Jared Goff, rate him in the way that is the easiest. And that is with the eye test and against his peers. We found 7 quarterbacks that you would take over Jared Goff, which made Jared Goff number 8. I talk about this because The Athletic has now come around and they released their top whatever list of quarterbacks. Jared Goff apparently had the highest jump in where he was listed. And guess where they listed Jared Goff? Number 8. I don't work for these publications. I just know what I'm looking at. Some Lions fans don't like the fact that Jared Goff is number 8. Some Lions fans believe that Jared Goff should be number 1, and that's fine. But I told you before, I keeps it real. Some of y'all don't even keep it realistic. Okay? So Jared Goff being a top 10 quarterback in a league that has 32 of them. Well, actually, it's more than 32, right? If you said, okay, everyone's second string, we count everybody, it's 64. Right? With Jared Goff being in the top 10 of quarterbacks, that's a pretty damn good quarterback to have. They put 7 quarterbacks ahead of him. Now, the one that is most directly ahead of him is the one that is the most asinine, which I get it because he looks like Tarzan, but does he play like Jane? That's one, Justin Herbert. I understand the hype of Herbert. But if you take Matthew Stafford's Super Bowl away, and you take the fact that Jared Goff has been to a Super Bowl, and he has taken 2 franchises to the NFC Championship game, you'd probably look at Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford a little bit different. Why do I make that comparison? Because my comp for Justin Herbert has been Matthew Stafford in Detroit. Matthew Stafford in Detroit didn't win a playoff game, didn't win a division, none of that. This is the same thing that Justin Herbert has done. He hasn't won a playoff game. He hasn't won a division. He's done none of that. He's immensely talented, super duper talented. He's got the arm strength. He can make the throws. He does all these things well. He can run a little bit, right? So he's not a statue. He can move out of the pocket, but he hasn't shown you anything in regards to winning anything. Right? So that is my comp for Justin Herbert. Why would you put Justin Herbert above Matthew Stafford or above Jared Goff? I do not know. All I know about Justin Herbert is he was in the playoffs when Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions in the first half, and the Tennessee, or not Tennessee, I was going to call them Tennessee Titans. So similar Blues, similar. And the Los Angeles Chargers went into the half of the wild card playoff game up 28 to goose egg. Correct me if I'm wrong. They lost that game 31 to 28. Everybody wants to blame the coach. Oh, Brandon Staley, awful coach, horrible, blah, 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 blah. Great, cool. He was an awful coach. He was horrible, right? He doesn't have a job as a head coach anymore. He's like a quality control assistant back in San Francisco or something. But guess what? If Justin Herbert is a top 10 quarterback, if he's number 7, I want my number 7 quarterback to be able to get me 3 points in an entire half of football. 3, just 3. I just want 3 points. Then we can go to overtime if my defense can't stop anyone and my coach is inept and he's a moron, whatever. 3 points? You couldn't give me 3 points and 30 minutes of football. And this is the guy that you put over Jared Goff. I'm sorry, but it's asinine. It doesn't make sense. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. So Cedric Sweeney says, if they call players to his strengths, he will excel. If his strength is running and being mobile, he's got a lot more to go as far as ball security. That's all I'm saying. He's got a lot further to go as far as ball security. I get that we want the young man to succeed. He will be on this roster. He will be on this team. He will be your emergency quarterback, I believe. Right? But he's got to do a much better job at protecting the football. I can live with you going one read and running. I can live with that if you protect the football and you pick up yards when you run. Just like he did on that first down scamper where he picked up 10, 11, 12 yards around the edge. No problem. Right? Absolutely no problem at all. But when you don't protect the football, this is the problem. This is the problem. What? I don't know what that means. I was saying that Holmes should draft Shedeur Sanders if he was available in the 6th round, since his pass accuracy is pretty good. He's a pocket passer, but he can also scramble when he needs to. I would take Shedeur. Some people would not. I think Shedeur is going to make a lot of people look foolish this year. Where did Mina play her football? Oh, yeah. She don't know crap, in my opinion. She's just a script reader. Well, she could have played flag football in British Columbia. Maybe she should drive an Uber. Come on with all the Uber slander. I drive Uber. What's all the slander? Come on now. PFT hates Goff. Check out deep analytics instead, and overall, Goff is top 3 to 5. PFT, I don't think has a direction. They don't hate anyone. They just do things for clicks and likes, because they'll put out a list and then they'll go ahead and contradict themselves with their next one. So, not putting Herbert over Goff, facts. Stafford won against the overrated Bengals. Goff lost to the cheating Belichick Brady Patriots. That's fine. I was just making the comparison of Herbert and Stafford. Goff over Herbert, facts. Did they list Love over Goff? No. Love was not in the top 10. Which I tried to tell everybody, just let him play. Like, half a season crowning was wild. And now they're seeing Jordan Love plays in the preseason. It's the Harbaugh effect. Herbert stock rises because NFL loves Jim Harbaugh. Again, he still didn't do anything with Jim Harbaugh's first year. So I just don't understand it. More comfortable with Kyle Allen than Hendon Hooker? Right now, yes. The Chargers team has not won a playoff game. The Chargers coaching staff has not won a playoff game. The blame should not be placed solely on the QB. You got to get me 3 points. I'm sorry. You can't lead me to 28 and then not be able to get me 3 in 30 minutes of football. I just need 3. That's all. I just need 3 from you. That's all. I need 3 points. If you're that guy, if you're a top 10 quarterback, I need 3 points. If you're a journeyman, if you're as people like to call a game manager, people like to say that, right? If you're not dynamic, if you're not a playmaker, if you're not any of those things, well, then you're not top 10, right? If you're not dynamic, not a playmaker, you don't have a rocket arm, whatever the case may be, you're not top 10. And if you're not top 10, then I can accept from you that you can't get me 3 points and a half. If Trent Dilfer is in that position, I don't expect 3 points and a half from Trent Dilfer. I'm not going to sit up here and say, how did Trent Dilfer not get 3 points in that half? Because it's Trent Dilfer, who has a Super Bowl but was carried by that defense. which is why I don't care if Trent Dilfer is there and can't get me 3 points. Justin Herbert, you're putting him over Goff, you're putting him in the top 10, you got to get me 3 points. I'm sorry. 3 points in 30 minutes of football should be able to happen for you. 3 points. Because you are running the offense. And you are the one throwing the football. And you are the one deciding to scramble and things of this nature. You've got to will your team into field goal position in 30 minutes. You've got to. Ain't who's like 30? Are you talking about Hendon Hooker? He's 27, I believe. Calls plays to his strength, so don't call plays. Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl and only got there once, yet he is in the Hall of Famer, and rightly so. No problem, but I want you to get me 3 points. I just want you to get me 3 points. That's it. You got to get me 3. Okay? You got to get me 3. It's hard to win in the NFL. Not gonna to disagree with that. You got to get me 3 points. Right? Justin Herbert is living off of his rookie season where he came out and threw for 5,000 yards as a rookie. Right? Would you say that Justin Herbert's team sucks? Would you say the team that he was on last year sucked? I wouldn't. You can put Justin Herbert over Jared Goff when Justin Herbert starts winning consistently. I want to see playoff games. Dan Marino won playoff games. Yeah, he didn't get back to the Super Bowl. It's hard to get to the Super Bowl. One team every year wins the Super Bowl. 2 teams make it. 30 other teams do not. Sometimes it's just a numbers game. Right? Sometimes it's just a numbers game. And that's fine. But you got to give me 3 points. Right? If Dan Marino is a Hall of Famer and he can't get you 3 points, you're going to be like, well, what are you doing in the Hall of Fame? You can't get me 3 points? Right? See what I'm saying? That's a good one. If Jared Goff ranked 31st in the NFL in air yards, which starter is worse than that? So air yards, not the problem. The air yards, not the not the end all be all. Okay, you can throw a ball air yard. Look, what do you think Anthony Richardson's air yards are? And then he's 30% accurate. So I don't not going down there. Tactical is good on Shador. He thinks that Shador is too much of a he's too much of a distraction. Not sucked, but definitely wouldn't bet on them reaching the Super Bowl. So I'm not even talking about reaching the Super Bowl. I'm talking about reaching 3 points in the second half after you got gifted 28 points because Trevor Lawrence was an absolute disaster and a dumpster fire wrapped in a cluster fudge. He was horrible. How do you throw 4 picks in the first half of the wild card game? He was awful, right? Was a believer in Hooker, then saw him play, was hoping for a Warren Moon for Lions. Brad Holmes and the rest of us got mooned. All right, don't know, but I know the Colts ain't out there running 5-yard routes. The Colts also aren't out there winning because they drafted Anthony Richardson 5th overall or something, and he is garbage. He is garbage. All right, mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Mailbag. Snip, mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. Because it's a wild card game? No. No. Give me 3 points. I want 3 points. Give me 3 points. For what? And I'm stomping in my first 3 points. I need 3 points. Get me 3 points. For what? Shout out if you know, you know. Mailbag, what role did the Manu play in not protecting Hooker on either fumble? If Manu was out there, he was probably the one getting beat. But here's the thing. Neither one of those fumbles needed to happen. The first one was ridiculous because he started running and didn't tuck the football, and it just got swatted out of there. Pocket presence, pocket awareness means that when things start closing down around you, your number one thing is protect the football. You got to clutch the pearl, right? There is a procedure to put yourself out if you're on fire. What is the first thing? Stop, drop, roll. You thought I was going somewhere else with that, didn't you? You thought I was going somewhere else with that. Stop is number one. So if we say, oh, we on fire, the pocket's on fire, well, the first thing that you do is stop. And stop in this instance is protect the football. That is number one. Before you roll, which means to run on out the pocket, you got to stop first, protect the football, then you can roll. If you roll without that football, it ain't going to look good for you. Mailbag, I seen someone say that they think Broderick Martin can make the team. I think they are smoking some good stuff. What say you? The reason that Broderick Martin may make the initial 53 roster is because of depth. Could he be cut and he would revert back to the practice squad? Yes. Is it likely that he would be cut and that would happen? Yes. I believe so. But then again, we have the thing where against the Falcons, he played 12 snaps. Did he play 12 snaps because he was garbage, or did he play 12 snaps because they were saving him for something else? That is the question that you have to ask yourself. Yeah, that is true. All right, mailbag. If Kyle Allen throws 2 interceptions versus Falcons backups, how likely is he to do it again versus the Dolphins, even with Minkah Fitzpatrick probably sitting it out? So Kyle Allen didn't throw any interceptions against the Falcons. He did that against the Chargers. Now, as I said, if Kyle Allen comes back out there and stinks it up next week, or this week, I should say, then it's pretty clear that he's inconsistent and he's not to be counted on. That's what I'll say about that. Kenyatta Stovall says, would you take 5 years of getting to the Super Bowl and no wings? No. Do you mean I couldn't eat chicken wings? Or do you mean rings? Because that's the Buffalo Bills. And that's... No. Mm-mm. So is Hooker's failure to protect the ball on him, or does some of the blame fall on the coaching staff? Hooker, he fumbled. These are fumbles, right? These are fumbles. You know what wasn't on him last week? His interception. That wasn't on him. That was on Dominic Lovett. Gotta love it. Fumbling the football is on you. That's the same thing I said when Chicken Nugget King was here, when he was talking about fumbles are more egregious. Yes, because it's on you. You must protect the football. There's nothing that can happen with a fumble that means you have nothing to do with it. Right? In an interception, you could throw the football, yes, and then a lineman could get his hand up on it at the last second, and that thing can flutter up in the air, and it's fair game for the defense, and the defense runs underneath it and gets the interception. Was that your fault because you threw it where a defensive lineman could get it? I guess it depends, but there's no control over what happens to it after it leaves your hand. Okay. So again, nah. That's on the player. Mailbag, do you start Hendon Hooker versus the Dolphins? If not, why not? No, because if they're going back and forth, then it's Kyle Allen's turn. Kyle Allen started number 1. Hendon Hooker started number 2. Kyle Allen should start number 3. Hendon Hooker should start number 4. So that's why. If they're taking turns like that, then it's Kyle Allen's turn to start. Would you take 5 Super Bowl losses or 1 Super Bowl win in 4 years going 2 and 5? 1 Super Bowl win in 4 years going 2 and 5 because we have the Super Bowl in the bank. Your 5 Super Bowl losses does nothing. It does nothing. We've lost the Super Bowl 5 times. What did it do for the Buffalo Bills? They lost 4 in a row. Does nothing for them. They still have no trophies in their trophy case. The former. I would take the latter. Why would we take the former? If we take the former, there's nothing there for us to. We've won nothing. We have nothing in our trophy case. Broderick has no hope on D. Pad level too high. He should switch to O-line. Possibly. Yeah, I mean, it could work, I guess. As a QB, Hooker has to be able to read the defense and change his protection. So, yes, that's on Hooker. So, even though RBs do drills, coaching them up on protecting the ball, and QBs don't, it's still all on the QB. If you are a running quarterback, it doesn't matter if you are a running quarterback. It doesn't matter if you are a statue. Protect the football. Like, quarterbacks do drills on this too. They do drills in the pocket where people are swiping at their arms and trying to knock the ball away. They're called ball protection drills, ball security drills. Quarterbacks do them too. Everybody who handles the football does ball security drills. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, anybody who handles the football does those drills. The gauntlet drill that the running back does is different than what the quarterback does. But the quarterback does drills to protect the football. It happens. Yes. You not protecting the football is on you all the time. All the time. Every single time. There is nothing. Right? If you have the ball in your hands, right? If it wasn't a snap that went over your head and you're trying to corral it and you're looking over this way, and then as soon as you get it and someone smacks you, okay, you didn't even see him, so that's not your fault, right? You're just trying to get the ball, the center snapped it over your head, whatever. If you've got the ball in your hands and you're making football moves, it's your fault. It becomes your responsibility to protect the football. All right. That's it for the mailbags. Okay, we good. We good. All right. Guys, if you are not a subscriber of the Motor City Cats, please go subscribe right now. Motor City Cats on YouTube. On Fridays, I will be doing a show on Detroit Sports Syndicate, not Lion Syndicate, right? It is his channel, but it is going to have a collective. It'll be me on there. It'll be Derek on there. And there will be other people on there. I don't know if that's been announced, so I'm not going to announce it here. I can only announce for my part. So I'll be there on Fridays doing shows over there. Hopefully we'll be simulcasting the same way that we're doing now. So I'll be live on both Detroit Sports Syndicate and Motor City Cats, just like right now I am live on Motor City Cats and LNU. So if you are seeing me on LNU and you're not subscribed to Motor City Cats, what are you doing? Go help your boy out. Go subscribe, right? Smash that like button, share, subscribe. And let's grow this Motor City Cats and this LNU community. Let's see. Says not being able to read the defense and expose the defense and not being able to secure the football can't play. Facts, 100. It says, I agree with you too, Don. Just having conversation. I know this flying. I know this flying. You my man. I got you. All right. Appreciate you guys once again for coming through, hanging out, stopping by for conversation and a drink. I got the cup, but I don't have the drink. Okay. All right. So the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats and none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. We are out of here. Cool. You and Syndicate are hilarious, relatable, and knowledgeable. I appreciate you, TaylorMade Media, and I appreciate all of the love and the people that come and hang out. You're taking your time out of the day to come and hang out with your boy, and I appreciate that. All right. We are out. We will be here tomorrow back on Motor City Cats. Again, if you ain't subscribed, go ahead and do it. Peace out.